I do want to talk about something that nobody's talking about, especially in the mainstream media. It appears our government gave
that. I think a lot of people are actually talking about this in the mainstream media. I mean, that's a New York Times article there. There's another CNN one that I put in the chat.
Yeah, it seems that nobody's talking about what is clearly a deal that our Department of Justice gave Ghislaine Maxwell. She does this interview.
What do you think they offered her?
I know what they offered her. They moved her to a minimum security prison in Texas. This is not a theory. This happened. She did the interview with the Department of Justice, talked about 100 people, 0 of which did they name, 0 of which did they tell us who they were. And then 2 days later, she was in a minimum security in Texas. They gave her a deal.
In a cushy Fed jail.
Yeah, they call it Club Fed. And nobody acknowledged this. Nobody in the government, nobody anywhere acknowledged that they clearly gave her a deal for this. They had no reason to move her. She was already in like a light security prison. Mm-hmm. Now she's in a prison with like somebody who shoplifted.
And there's no cameras allowed in the prison as well. And it's one of the easiest, laxest, most comfortable jails in the world.
Yeah. Nobody's talking about it. They're just like, oh, she's moved. She got moved. It's like, no. Pam Bondi moved her in exchange for this information. They're not going to partner, but they said, hey, we'll move you to this, they call it Club Fed in Texas. What do you think about this, Luke? Do you think she's going to get unpersoned now, or do you think they're going to admit that there was any kind of deal here? I mean, what's going on?
I mean, it's going to be interesting because this decision comes after her testimony. We don't know exactly what she said. Allegedly, she brought up 100 people, but unless I actually see the 100 people named, unless I see a transcript by the DOJ, the verdict is out. I still believe there's a big probability. I think there's like an 85% probability that she's going to be pardoned at the end of Trump's term. I think there's a big likelihood for that happening. Donald Trump has wished her well when she was in jail. And then when asked about it, saying, hey, you're wishing well a trafficker of children that hurt them, according to all the accusations, he's like, yeah, so what? I wish her well. And he doubled down on it after being questioned by a British broadcaster about this very specific issue. Obviously, the two have connections. Obviously, the two were hanging out in the 1990s. There's multiple photos of all of them kind of hanging out here. And a lot of people believe that there was a plan that was devised here saying, look, we're going to drop some names. We're going to make a deal. Ghislaine is going to say the right things. And Ghislaine is a very manipulative, very smart person.
She's smart.
And I think she cut a deal being like, look, I'll go after all of your political enemies. I'll say whatever you want me to say. Let's just make something good happen here. And I think we're going to be seeing, hopefully, more disclosures here. But when they come from Ghislaine Maxwell, we got to think that this is coming from a person that clearly wants to get out of jail. Now, she has already benefited her situation greatly. And it's going to be interesting to see how all of this is going to be moving forward, because the Trump administration still has all of these kind of people asking questions about this. There's still so much pressure. There's still so much concern. And this might be the pressure relief valve that's being orchestrated and organized right now in order to try to save face in light of everything that's been happening so far. That's my kind of 2 cents on it.
What do you think, Hannah Claire?
I don't know. I know this is a development. I know it's kind of there's probably.
Well, how about this too? Let me add this. Let me add this too. Congress has now delayed Ghislaine Maxwell's testimony indefinitely as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, her list of demands are pretty severe. And with those severe kind of list of demands, she wants her Supreme Court, case heard first before, testifying. And I thought Bernie Sanders' response to being asked if he wants her to testify or not was pretty interesting. He was like, I don't know. He's like, I don't know. He's kind of acting all weird about it. But again, we're talking about someone here who has a lot of connections. Her sister, Isabel Maxwell, is a member of the World Economic Forum. Her other sister is a major part of a genetics online company. There's also a lot of genetic kind of connections to her family developing the FBI database system on predators in our country.
Yeah.
So it just keeps getting stranger and stranger by the day. And as we know, Robert Maxwell had a lot of close associates, close ties. And I think we are only going to ever get the truth. Never.
Yeah.
That's why it becomes like it's kind of irrelevant. I mean, not irrelevant. It's important to keep up with these things. It's good to question it. But, you know, she gets moved to a prison. She maybe or maybe is not going to have to testify. I believe Luke's correct that she's very manipulative. I'm sure she's going to have an intense list of demands. I mean, in some ways, she has a lot of power, more than she's had over the last 2-3 years while she's been locked up, because she's suddenly very relevant again after, you know, fading to the back of public memory for a while. I just don't know that like this is a slam dunk. Like, we're definitely getting any information or even half information from Ghislaine. Like, she moved to prisons. So now we wait longer. Like, what are we expecting at this point?
Well, to clarify my position, I don't think we're getting any information because she moved. I just think they moved her because she played ball. She gave them something they wanted that we're probably never going to know. I mean, they had some lawyer, was it Dershowitz, who just came out and said that there's no list. There was an interview with a guy interviewing Glenn Beck. Yeah, that was Dershowitz. He came out and said, Dershowitz just came out and said, no, there was no list. He was getting these young girls, but they were all for him. That's what has Dershowitz, I haven't followed him. Has that been his position?
Prince Andrew just must be so mad. Prince Andrew had to
he's the only guy that got,
And then Dershowitz came out and they're like, no, they're only 16. And there's a lot of documented reports that there was a lot of younger children than 16. As of course, Epstein was a creep who liked them with braces, according to now multiple accounts and multiple reports, as well as the connection with Jean-Luc Bernet that bragged about providing 1,000 children to Epstein himself. And there's also multiple reports of children as young as 7, as young as 9, that were, you know, hurt here in unspeakable, crazy ways. But again, I don't buy what Dershowitz is saying here, to be just personally quite frank. Dershowitz did argue that we need to lower the age of consent here in America.
Yeah, he did.
He was talking about, there's no problem that a 16-year-old is you know, having
a 70-year-old
contact with a 66-year-old. A 66-year-old. Epstein was 66. Okay.
Yeah.
And now he's arguing, saying,
sick of,
it's okay she was 16.
Luke, I don't know about you, but I'm disheartened by how many people I have in my followers on X that are literally on that hill. There was like this stupid rapper that was like flash in the pan popular called Lil Tay. She turned 18 yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Made $1 million on OnlyFans. And I was like, this country has a pedo problem.
Yes.
And then my comments, I was getting ratioed. People are like, what are you talking about? She's 18. I'm like, bro, she's 18 and 1 second old and you're paying to see her with her clothes off. You're disgusting. Okay.
Also, like, did she take those pictures on her birthday, or did she take them a couple hours before? Like, it's just gross.
It's gross. Like, I'm sorry. You can argue that you're not a pedo. Fine. Then you're a hebophile. Isn't that what they're called? Hebophiles? There is something deeply wrong with paying money to see somebody who's 18 years old, 18 and 1 second old. Because believe me, that's the fetish. That's what they're paying they're paying to see. They're not like, I'm attracted to this woman. They're attracted to the fact that she's barely legal, that she's a child.
Do you remember when there were it was like Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen and Hilary Duff, that era of young starlets? There were all these websites that had like countdown until they're 18 trackers, and like,
it's gross.
Talk about it. Like, that's so creepy and weird.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'll concede that it isn't, you're not a pedo. Fine. But there's something wrong with
you. Though. Yeah.
If you're 45 paying to see an 18-year-old, you know, you have problems. By the way, the majority of those people are probably paying for that are Indians, I'm guessing. But like, I don't know I don't know what to call you, but it's just, you're gross. And Jeffrey very openly was into 16-year-olds. So Dershowitz goes on, Glenn Beck this morning, he's like, actually, he's not a pedo. I'm like, okay, fine. Now what?
Like, is that good?
He's sleeping with 16-year-olds. He's like, but they have tiny 66. Boobs. They have tiny boobs. He's not a creep.
What?
They have some pubes. I mean, I'm being hyperbolic, but that's the excuse he's making.
Say, if that's what he said, then like
that's what he is. But that's what he is saying. He's like, yeah, but they're mildly developed, so he's not a pedo. I'm like, okay, fine, he's not a pedo. What's the word for that? Like, I don't. He's 70 years old. I already feel like, I don't know about you, but when I was in high school, the seniors who would date underclassmen were ruthlessly made fun of.
Yeah, I remember that.
Like, if you were 17 or 18 dating a 15-year-old, we called you a pedo in high school. We're like, what are you doing dating a freshman at 18? You're gross. It's just a baby.
That was weird.
So, and like, that's how I remembered high school. Like, when you're when I was a senior, if you're a senior dating a junior, that's fine. But like, if you're like a senior dating a freshman or a sophomore, that's weird. And like, I don't want to live in a world where that's not weird. Then let's go to, like, as Luke pointed out in a tweet, he's 66 banging 16-year-olds, and we have Alan Dershowitz being like, actually, he's not. Like, what do you call that?
Also, why would Alan Dershowitz be like,
Roman
what
time,
position
Santa
I'm
Clara.
going to take? This is a great stance. America will love it if I argue this. Like, sir.
As he's
medieval
arguing to lower
times,
the age of consent, and the age of consent in most states is 16 already, and he's arguing to make it lower.
Bro, Luke, if this was the medieval times, she'd already been married with 3 kids. What are you talking about?
Well, then her dad could have sold her with a better dowry in that case. Yeah. This is weird.
Yeah, college guys dating high school girls, too, is also maximum creep. Like, I remember some high school girls who were dating college guys. I'm like, you know they're cheating on you, right? Like, you know that they have no interest in you at all, right? And like, by the way, if you're in college and you're dating a 17-year-old, you're also like, that's not okay. You have a mental problem. Like, I don't know. Yes, there are exceptions to every rule. Okay, fine. If you're a senior and whatever, fine. And a lot of that washes out. When you're 30 and she's 25, no one's going to care.
That's hugely different. Like, I always think it's like starting at, like, I would say like 20. Like, if you're 20, you could maybe date someone who's like 5 years older than you, maybe. But you should not be 16 and being like, you know who's interesting? This 66-year-old guy who asked me for massages. Like, that's whack.
Yeah, I don't know. Ghislaine was waiting outside of schools in order to recruit people.
And she was participating in the stuff.
Yeah. And she was and she was specifically looking for troubled women that, of course, and young children that had problems with their families. And they said, hey, we'll give you hundreds of dollars if you just give this guy a massage. Mm-hmm. And then like, I'm not a massage person. I don't know how to do that. And then, of course, like, naked Epstein would walk in there. And, it's just crazy that there's people online just denying the kind of predator pedo aspect of this that clearly is there. Now, there's a lot of other aspects here, especially when it comes to financial transactions, money, billions of dollars being moved. But I think, it's pretty clear here. This guy was a high level predator. He liked them young, as Donald Trump said, in extremely creepy ways. And I'm sorry, but like waiting outside of schools and recruiting troubled children for massages as you're like a 60-year-old man is an extremely big red flag. And if you're saying it's not and saying that we need to lower the age of consent, I'll just leave it as this: extremely problematic, in my opinion.
Right. That's all. Yeah, that's basically all we can say. It's not illegal. Fine. You're not a pedo. Fine. But there's something weird about it.
The thing is, the more people that try and argue, like, oh, but they're 18 or whatever, I'm just like, fine, raise the age of consent. Now it's 21. I'll make it 30. Like, get out of here.
Keep talking. I'll keep going. Fast Result says, bro, Gavin McGinnis was on Timcast live debate making very similar overtures like Dershowitz, and the room was left silent. I didn't see it, but I could see Gavin saying that. Now, sometimes Gavin just says stuff, so I don't really know, if he's willing to die on that hill. I'm not really willing to die on the hill either, because I don't really know what the hill it is. All I can really say, and I guess, like, this is weak tit, okay, I understand, but it's icky. Like, there's some weird ick factor. Like, I remember when, like, my dad, I think it was I know it was my sister. I only have one sibling. But she was dating, like, a guy who was, like, 21 and she was, like, 18. I remember my dad, like, saying something to him. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Mean.
Like this is weird, bro. What are you doing?
It's like, they have to get to 20. And 20, we can start talking about reasonable age gaps. But, like, anything under 21 is weird, in my opinion. And like, you hit me with a ton of, like, there's exceptions or there's whatever, fine. But, like, as a rule, we don't just operate off of the exceptions.
Well, there's the letter of the law, the spirit of the law. And there's also, like, kind of this social, there's, like, a social construct here that, we don't want, that we don't think that that's normal.